Okay, one more LucidPress tutorial. This is about using whitespace well um, and basically correcting the problems created by students who feel they need to fill the page. So I've seen a number of layouts that look like this, and this may be because I taught you how to link frames. So when you went to make columns, you sort of linked some frames together, and then you had as much text as you had, and you knew you had to fill the page, and so you sort of put the title up there, and then you drag these apart until you had some reasonable looking margins, and then maybe your picture came in the middle, and sometimes it looks like this even. Maybe you decided to put it perfectly in the center. There it is. Boom, centered. There's the kitten. So the net effect is a page that looks pretty sloppy, and all this white space just feels like empty space. So the irony is that if the white space is spread out the way it is, so that there's kind of some space in the middle here, space around the edges here, space here, it looks sloppy and it looks like you left something out. Whereas actually, if you use that white space intentionally, you can have the exact same amount of text and white space on the page, but it will look much tidier. So the first thing to do is to bring these columns together. If you're going to have columns that go together, they should be much closer. Now you can try to get the spacing exactly right, or if this is really one flow of text, even simpler, just delete that second box, double the width here, and LucidPress will do columns by default, and it puts 18 points between them by default, which is pretty standard amount. That looks pretty good. So there, I just fixed my columns, and I got rid of that space. Now the other thing is, this header should go right as close to the text really as I can make it. So now that can go right on top of it. Now if I were to bring the kitten in, to maybe stop the wrapping, I can basically fit the kitten up here. I guess I could shrink it a little bit to make some space for it. Maybe I line it up perfectly with that text. The other thing, this text was originally centered, which left awkward space all around it. Let's try lining it up there. If I needed to, I could shrink it down a little bit. Maybe I put the paw right at the baseline, so that looks intentional. The other thing is, now that I have this space to play with, I could have a little more fun with it. So if I wanted to, we have a lot of space on the page, so maybe I could have this kitten be big. Notice the kitten sort of forms a triangle this way. LucidPress's image wrapping is not great on an image, but I'll show you what I can do. If I bring this up, let's make this all a little bit bigger. There, like that. I can now bring in a little triangle. Make the triangle roughly the shape of my kitten, like that. Turn text wrapping on the triangle. Wrap tightly. Send this kitten to the back. Boom. Now let's throw one more triangle on for the ears there. Like that. Like so. Text wrapping on tightly. My text now wraps right around the kitten. These guys can be made invisible. Just get rid of the border, get rid of the fill. And now my text wraps right around the kitten. And the same page that looked empty a minute ago suddenly feels full. Let's align that to the right edge of the kitten there. Align that. Again, my white space is now being used intentionally. The text that goes together goes together. If we had even less, it would be no problem to start a page with a big wide margin intentionally. You'd then have some options. Let's say that you wanted to bring in some color. You can make that margin look really intentional. Just fill this. Let's try to sort of match the shade of that kitten. Complementary color now. And suddenly my page that looked empty a minute ago looks much more full. Maybe this one is black. Beautiful. So, a lot of ways to do it, but this would be a much more intentional looking page. And the same amount of white space that I had before no longer looks like empty, sort of meaningless white space. It looks like something I meant to happen. Let's go lighter there. And not that light. There. Beautiful. That looks pretty good, right? Simple enough. There's my kitten. My text. Done.